Hello and welcome to today's 5-in-1 Mayaani Talks. Today we are exploring the Americas. And those of you who know my videos, you know that I share my journey through learning about glass seed beads specifically in these videos with you. And I typically share 5 facts. So today let's dive straight in with the first fact as we explore the beads across North and South America. Now, long before glass seed beads arrived with the Europeans into North and South America, the indigenous tribes of Northern and Southern America were using stone, shell, and bone beads to weave beautiful works of bead artistry for lots of different things, from ceremony or ritual to storytelling to spiritual protection. Fact number 2: around the 16th century, when the European invaders did finally bring glass seed beads to the indigenous tribes of North and South America, these glass seed beads did not change the traditional beadwork artistry or the traditional materials used. Instead, they added to them and they became incorporated and integrated within traditional beadwork artistry. And in some areas and some among some tribes, they actually became incorporated in such a way that they led to the creation of new forms of beadwork artistry, such as the floral beadwork artistry that you see in North America, that's specifically credited to the Plains tribes, which the Lakota, and I may not pronounce this correctly, but the Assiniboine tribes of North America. So they gave rise to beautiful new versions of beadwork artistry, but they never replaced the traditional beadwork artistry that was already an ancestral part of being an indigenous Native American Indian, whether you're and equally an indigenous tribal member of Southern America as well. So they never replaced the existing traditions and ancestral heritage that was passed down through this wonderful skill form. Now, typically, the beadwork artisans, which I'm going to call artisans because beadworkers does not give them the credit that they're due. They are artisans. The beadwork artisans were females in particular across most of the tribes, most of the indigenous tribes. And going to fact number 3, these women would quietly, through their beadwork artistry, rebel against colonization. Essentially, through their beadwork woven works of art, they were preserving their culture and their language and their very identity that was being threatened. So I love that because it also echoes how, and it's almost like the roots of how beadwork has been used for activism, essentially, both previously and is being used currently for the same thing as well. So fact number 4, we've got many modern beadwork artists such as Elias Jade Not Afraid and Sky Paul, who are globally recognized for the way in which they merge the traditional works and forms of artistry that they have, of course, that have been passed down to them through their lineage with modern styles, essentially making these traditional forms of beadwork artistry more cultural, more current, and more relevant in present times. But equally, many of these artists would use their beadwork, that's fact number 5, to actually make statements about things they felt very strongly about. So whether they felt strongly about things like gender, topics like gender, sovereignty, land, identity, they would communicate quietly in a quiet form of powerful rebellion to their beadwork artistry, their views in relation to these very powerful topics. So just goes to show that beadwork is not just adornment. It's actually much more powerful than that. And this brings me to my question for you today. And that is, how powerful would your jewelry be if it carried the voices, the very voices of the people who have struggled for survival, such as the indigenous tribes of Northern and Southern America? If you've joined me this far, thank you for joining me today. I wish you a beautiful week ahead. Please, before you leave, if you have a few moments, share with me what your favorite fact was, whether you have particular awareness when it comes to glass seed beads and their origins and the way in which they're used in North and South America. I'd love to know. Please share with me below. And equally, I'd love to know your answer to that particular question as well. If you do enjoy this content, please subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can be informed when my next video is out. Thank you for joining me. I'm Mega of Mayaani Jewelry. And remember, because your jewelry should always be more than just an afterthought. Bye for now.